Queen is now a great-grandmother. Autumn Phillips, a Canadian wife of the Queen's eldest grandson, Peter, has given birth to a daughter. The baby is yet to be named. Peter and Autumn married in 2008. The Queen is said to be delighted with the news of her great-grandchild. The infant is 12th in line to the throne. And joining us for more on this from London is the editor of Burke's Peerage and Gentry, a premier guide to royalty and aristocracy. Rafe Heydel-Mankoo joins us. So, Rafe, what is the official comment, response, reaction from the royal family to this new addition?
Well, they're all delighted. I mean, really, for any royal watcher and for the royal family, this has been an extremely eventful few weeks, from the highs of the two royal engagements to the low of the attack on the Prince of Wales car. And now again we have happy news to end the year with the announcement of the birth of a baby girl, 8 pounds 8 ounces, extremely healthy. And as you said, this is the Queen's first great-grandchild, and the Queen is the first sovereign since Queen Victoria's time to have been a great-grandparent, although Victoria had 16 great-grandchildren, so quite a way to go before the Queen matches that record.
I'd say, yes. And we do, I've seen some reports the baby will have both Canadian and British citizenship. Is this true?
Yes, indeed. This is extremely significant for Canadians because it's the first time that a Canadian will be in line to the throne. The baby girl will be 12th in line to the throne, but it's by far from the only CanCon or Canadian content in the royal family. The Duchess of Cornwall descends from Sir Allan Napier MacNab, who was a Prime Minister of Upper Canada and has French-Canadian ancestors too, and the Queen's cousin, the Duke of Kent, has a daughter-in-law who is from Newfoundland. So the royal family has never been more Canadian, and I think that's quite important in strengthening the connections between the Canadian people and the Crown.
Right, and no doubt. And this is the baby of Autumn and Peter Phillips. Can you tell us a little bit about their life, you know, what it's like for them, what they've been up to?
Well, you know, it's quite, I think, significant and symbolic that this baby came at the end of a year and the dawning of a new year, because Peter Phillips and Autumn Phillips, as with Prince William and the rest of the new royals, are heralding in a new era for the royal family of a much more restrained and low-key affair. They met in Montreal during the Grand Prix, where Peter Phillips was working and Autumn Kelly didn't know who he was. And they had a brief whirlwind romance, and I think that's really, you know, seeing them now living in Hong Kong where they are, they go about life in a very low-key way, and that's very much the refashioning of the monarchy that we're seeing. And I think Canadians will be able to identify a lot more with this new generation of royals than perhaps with the previous generation. And that, I think, is the importance of the monarchy's ability to survive and adapt, has been its ability to refashion itself.
Okay, you're talking about refashioning and the next generation of royals, but also, I mean, when it comes to a new addition to the royal family, is there a precedent, you know, when it comes to choosing a name, for example, is it incumbent to sort of include a middle name or maybe perhaps even the first name based on a royal relative?
Yes, well, traditionally you'll have 4 or 5 names used for a member of the royal family, but because Autumn Phillips and Peter Phillips are far more removed, I don't think there'll be the necessary protocols being put in place for this baby girl as it would have been had it been an issue of, say, Prince William or Prince Harry. But usually you'll probably have, I suppose, one grandparent will be expected to be represented in the name, but whether that be from Autumn's family or from Peter's family, we'll have to wait and see.
Right, and we're showing the wedding of Autumn and Peter. Of course, the next big wedding, as we know, Prince William and Catherine Middleton. What's the latest buzz about the big day in April?
Well, it's been announced that there may be strikes across the nation for the royal wedding. Britain's going through one of its most austere periods, and the unions have threatened that perhaps there may be great national walkouts for the royal wedding. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But also because of the recent security scare with the Prince of Wales, it's also been announced that there will be extremely tight security measures with the SAS being called out to monitor security for the royal wedding.
Right.
But more exciting and more happy, perhaps, is news that the dress for Kate Middleton may actually be under preparation in Buckingham Palace, with the designer perhaps an unknown person who is a very minor designer but will be catapulted onto the front pages. So the bets on Oldfield, which were closed recently, may all be off.
Well, let me ask you, I mean, on that point, and choosing a designer perhaps that's not that well known, does the royal family now especially, I mean, you mentioned the austerity measures, you know, the instability across Europe, economic turmoil that continues, do they have to be very careful with this wedding to make sure that it's not too extravagant, because it is a time of economic turmoil still?
Very much so. I mean, the British taxpayer won't pay for the royal wedding aside from the security, so the actual wedding costs will be covered by the royal family and by Kate Middleton's family too. But really, I mean, what we're going to see is a harkening back perhaps to the wedding of the Queen and Prince Philip, which happened at the end of the war. There was an austerity period there with rationing and so forth. But let's not think this is going to be a very dull and dreary affair. This will be a glamorous affair. It's not a state wedding because Prince William is not the next in line to the throne. He's second in line to the throne. But it will still be a glamorous affair, but one which is mindful of the economic situation and one which really wants to portray, I think, a modern take on royalty. So it wouldn't be too glamorous anyway.
No, many people are very much looking forward to it. Rafe Heydel-Mankoo with Burke's Peerage and Gentry. Thank you so much. We certainly appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.